Yeah, some intro music would be good. Hopefully, maybe some alien music from the community grant. Shouldn't be
Yeah,
too long.
sure. All right. I think I can hear you.
Yeah,
Community, can you hear him? Cool. All right. I think we'll keep an eye out on Cabana Bar.
yeah, Kabbalah. Yeah.
All right, cool. So if there are like any questions, feedback, send it in Cabana Bar, please. But we have had a look at ideas and feedback. There's a ton of questions. Like it's
Mhm.
probably gonna take up the full hour with those. So we can just go through them. Um,
Yeah, there's a lot of questions in there that will take up majority of this AMA. So
hmm I guess just first, we should start off by just talking a bit about the update that we had yesterday or earlier today. There was some pretty exciting stuff, so just wanted to get some feedback from everyone while we're on the call. Like, what did you? Yeah, I mean, first off, if you haven't had a chance to see the update, check out announcements. We're posting all of our weekly updates on Medium instead of just posting it like embedding them in Discord. It's a lot easier. I think you can subscribe as well, so that way you get updates straight away. But to recap, we chose we handed out some grants to the community. Um, the two big ones being the VR chat private island that Arashi and Badlands are building out, and we had a um, sneak peek into what it actually is going to look like earlier today. It looks pretty looks pretty cool. Like it's pretty exciting. And like for those of you who don't know, like VR chat is it's one of those like 3D worlds where that you can enter in as an avatar and interact with other people. You can play games, experiences, just hang out. Like it's live. It's running right now. It doesn't really mix in with blockchain or NFTs or anything like that just yet. But this is like a real good example of what like I guess a lot of people have in mind for the metaverse, right? I think if this is probably what people pick. And Aaron, we jumped in. Hey, remember, guys, like it really does feel like you're there, which is pretty cool. So
yeah, it's
having
pretty
that
great.
private island there is it's gonna be something else, and it's gonna have like the bungalows, the gym, the cabana bar, of course, and
Definitely.
yeah, I mean, you'd hope that like depending on how it goes, as we move more and more into the metaverse and we're focusing on that even these discussions that we're having right now where everyone's just looking at a screen and it's three images that are popping up, if we could actually just be there, all of us together, and we could see each other's avatars, right? Whether it's Willie Anderson's fake glasses and Santa hat, or um, you know Doxman's lazy hat, or Aaron's pipe. Like we could all just see each other and interact, and you can even use voice, right? Like I think that's part of the long term vision. And whatever it is that we're exploring in Web3 together, we can do that in a more immersive environment. Um, but anyways, so that's the first grant. Pretty excited for that, and equally excited for Alio's new track. So he's building out some music for us that we can preferably use in the metaverse on social media. So if you guys haven't heard his other track that he did for Lazy Lions, the Lazy Like a Lion, there's a link to that in the Medium blog. So definitely recommend reading that blog and checking it out. And then we did the giveaways, handed those out. Lazy Lions Den. So we've set the date, Monday, 6th of December, 5 p.m. PT. We're going to have an event for that in Discord as well. So similar to like Shark Tank and those other types of shows, um, Dragon's Den. It'll be that similar kind of thing where, like, I guess a little bit of background to this. Like, we get a ton of DMs, as you guys can probably imagine, about, hey, like, check out this project, or, I'm trying to do this, or, I think it'd be really cool if we got the community involved in this. And Like some of them are definitely really cool. So we thought, instead of us just reviewing them in, behind the scenes, why not just make it really transparent? We can all review it together, and if we like things, then maybe we can start off with soft endorsement from Lazy Lions, which, like to anyone who understands the community and what we've got to offer, is a ton of value, right? But it could be even more. Maybe it's using the community wallet, or maybe it's all of us pitching in and um, grabbing a piece of whatever it is they're building. So that could be fun. We'll see what that involves into, but first it's just a pitch your project and we'll give you feedback. Um, so that's pretty much the bulk of it. We also like obviously some new stickers and emojis, which is really cool. The community wallet sandbox vote. So that's an interesting one because we had some mixed feedback before we went to purchase the sandbox land. Speaking with some community members, they were like, "Oh, I didn't know that the community wallet was actually going to be used to purchase the sandbox land," and obviously it was a significant investment. Um, like I think we've made it pretty clear, but I guess not to everyone, that the community wallet is going to be used literally for anything that helps the project long term, right? Like that's the purpose of it. Whether it was getting lions off the market so we could use them in giveaways, or in our minds purchasing sandbox land so that we could build experiences for lazy lion holders. Um, Regardless, like we said, like this is going to be a big focus for us in 22, the metaverse. So didn't have a problem putting money where our mouth is and just getting the land ourselves. We're still going to build an experience for lazy lion holders on that. Like make no mistake, like this is all like it's for the project. But what was interesting is we had some feedback from community members saying we should also buy land using the community wallet. Um, so curious to get any feedback on that. If everybody feels the same way, or maybe if not, land is one of the best possible uses of community wallet, in my opinion. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I believe we had a discussion a couple days ago as well, where a lot of the community members did want us to buy land. So curious to hear everyone's thoughts on that.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Cool. And look, that's totally fine. Like, there's nothing, like if that's what like we all want to do, then that's totally fine. Like we'll still keep obviously the land that we purchased using Devil. Like that's not a big deal. We can build more experiences on it, or we can figure out what we're gonna do with the land. But there's a ton of possibilities. I feel like we are catching the tail end of Sandbox Land a bit. I know it feels like that because like everything's pumping right now with Sandbox and Sand and Metaverse, but like in my belief is like long term it's still extremely early with this, extremely early. But I do get what you mean. Like we shouldn't put all our eggs into one basket because nobody knows which metaverse is going to play out in the long term. And like realistically, it's probably going to be a mix. So having a bit of all of the main ones that we think might have a chance is definitely how we're looking at it as well. Cool. My Discord is playing out, but try and scroll down to the feedback so we can look at questions. But right now I'm stuck on Cabana Bar, so
Happy
the bigger
to.
the best, the bigger the kingdom. Yeah. So a 3x3 would be about 25 ETH, a bit more than that. Let me just restart my Discord and then we'll get into the Q&A. But if there are any additional questions anybody wants to ask, or feel free to throw them in Cabana Bar.
Cool. I guess I'll just start off and answer some of the questions that are currently in the ideas and feedback channel. So to kick it off, there's some questions about merch. We have a question from Can't Know. So do you make it available in different geographical parts? Yes. Currently are in the works with merch, and it shouldn't be too long before we actually go live with that. And it will be available worldwide to order. So yeah, we're currently in the works with that, so it shouldn't be too long before that comes out. Cool. Cool. Let me just bring that up again. Yeah, so just to confirm, merch, we're finalizing all the actual, clothing right now. We've got we've got shirts, we've got hats, and some other different types of like hoodies that we're looking at. And it shouldn't be too long before that actually is available. So yeah, it's in the
Yeah,
works.
that's gonna be pretty exciting. I'm actually wearing one of those shirts right now just to cause a lot of FOMO and maybe a little bit of hate.
I know a lot
It's-
of people have been asking for it.
it's
So
really cool.
yeah,
So that's gonna be fun. All right, AMA on Twitter versus AMA, or it's more than AMA on Discord. Just going through the questions now on ideas and feedback. But if you do have any questions, like now, if you haven't already posted, put them into Cabana Bar. But I'll start off by going through the ones and ideas and feedback. So AMA on Twitter versus is more than AMA on Discord. Look, we've done both, but Twitter opens it up to everyone. And like while we've got this time, because like there are a ton of questions, we just make sure that we it's the most effective use of time. Let's focus it on the lazy line holders and what the community really wants to get answers on. Okay, what's the strategy on CB listing, Coinbase listing, and merch? Do you make it available? Sorry, Nine, did you answer that first question on CB?
yes,
Yep,
yeah,
cool.
I did.
Yeah, so we can't say too much about that. Cool. How many corporate collabs are we currently pursuing in talks with? Any close to the finish line? Yes, on that second question. Like we are in talks with like multiple different brands and like in different things as well. Like some in gaming, some that are just brands, some in events. And like if in terms of like which industries are we targeting, like we got a big focus on the metaverse right now, and a lot of them are smaller players who are just starting out right now and building out their metaverses. And like we're having a lot of talks with them. And if you have any metaverses in mind, like send them through. I know Aaron's been collecting a lot of contacts at these, and we've been having these discussions. So, like we said, that's a focus. If you see anything that you think is cool that we haven't explored just yet, send it over. What's the end game for our investments in Sandbox? What is the primary utility that we derive from our metaverse investments? It's interesting, right? Because with Sandbox, like there's obviously a ton of potential with that, and like what they have in mind is pretty cool, but it's going to start off extremely limited. Like for those of you who aren't across what it is, like a lot of those things that you probably have in mind for Sandbox, like it's not going to be there at the beginning, right? It's such a big project. That I think they're going to be doing it in stages, right? So I think like to start off with, like it'll have some very like limited experiences, similar to VR chat. What we're doing there, like it'll almost be like a social hub. I think that's like from the talks that we've had. That's what a lot of other communities are building out as well, like a place where we can all get there and hang out and have these kind of conversations there instead. But you can do like gaming experiences or other types of events that you could host on there, and you can tie that in with NFTs and tokens and rewarding people who engage in those experiences with tokens and items and things. But it's pretty early days with that. Are there any plans in place to increase activity and engagement from the official Lazy Lion social media accounts? So yes, we are looking at agencies like to help us with like boosting that strategy as well, like on social media specifically, Instagram, what TikTok's going to look like. I think on Twitter, like the reality is like it's doing quite well. Like from the data that we're looking at, like Twitter is doing quite well. Obviously, the rating and everything like that, like that's working really well. But as we move on to Instagram and I think TikTok too, we need to figure out like what's going to be the best plan of attack for that, and how's that going to tie in with our mission too. What do you think other successful profile photo projects have done to provide utility to their owners? It's a question I'd like to ask the community. I mean, what do you deem as success And who do you think is a good example of providing that kind of success right now with other projects that you're seeing? What I- Mhm. Mhm. Yeah. Hmm. So I think, like from the discussions I've had, like utility for a lot of people is, like monetary utility. Like, what can I see staking like that. Like, how can I stake and earn, more tokens or more ETH or whatever it is. Like from my point of view, like staking DeFi, that's very different to what we're building here. I don't see this as one of those kind of tokens. Like, great, I applaud the tokens out there in the communities that have those kind of things and it's working out for them. And like that's great, but that's not what we have in mind. That's not really part of our vision. Having those, having DeFi be a part of it, and staking, and I think that's a completely different route. I think it turns, like from my view, it turns what's a really fun project that we're all part of into something that's a bit more serious and a bit more. It's a different route, I think, and there's nothing wrong with that, but it's just not what we have in mind. If it turns out like that's what is a great use of, if that's what Web3 turns into, and like staking becomes a vital part, and there are a lot of additional benefits to it, and then like we're pragmatic, okay, like we'll look at maybe how that can work with us, but it's not part of our focus. Lazy Lions need an in real life meetup. Agreed. Agreed. Yeah. All right. Just going through the list. Aaron, nine. If you guys see any questions, you want to bring it up as well,
Mm-hmm.
feel free to. Okay. What are we going to do differently with the next set of collectibles? Right, so this is a really interesting one, because we were just looking at the data, right, with the collectibles dApp, and the amount of visitors that we had on the launch, and the day after. That's the highest amount of visitors, the most amount of visitors that we've had since Bungalows. Literally compared to the week before, it was a 100% increase. So we doubled in the amount of visitors into our Discord. And we only had collectibles up for a couple of days before we had to stop the packs. So, like, to me, that says like that definitely worked. Um, like it, yeah. So we just need to. I guess what we're doing next with that right now is we've we've changed the process and how you're meant to, like on how you get onto the platform, just so we can get around, um, some of the API limits and make a more sustainable, um, dApp that we could just leave running on, so it doesn't have to have a cap to the amount of referrals. And that's pretty much complete. Like that's going to go into, like Q&A on that this weekend. Um, but yeah, it's definitely not something that we're stopping. Like we're chatting with brands about how we can incorporate them into this as well. It's been met with a lot of positive feedback. But yeah, expect to see another one of those later this month.
I think there was some discussion as well around with the newcomers actually coming into the general chat and how it sort of takes away from the main focus of what the general chat actually is. And like, for example, if an influencer was to come in, the general chat is sort of the place to welcome them, etc. So I'm thinking about, maybe creating like a different channel that sort of gets these newcomers in, but we'll need the community to obviously welcome those guys as well, so they feel welcomed. There needs to be like an even split between newcomers that have never heard about us and influencers that are looking, that are interested in our project. So yeah, we can always
Agreed.
dive into that and make that split to ensure both are satisfied there.
Yeah. Yeah, and that was some good feedback that we got from the community saying, hey, like there were a lot of people jumping in. Like, great that we have so many new people jumping into the community. And now we're at all-time highs for Lazy Lion holders as well. And we're building out the tools so we can get more data as to like how those conversions are happening as well. But like it's obviously working. But yeah, I mean, some of the feedback was how can we make sure that the general chat doesn't get flooded, which is a good point. And how we've reworked the referral system to work now is like high level. We're gonna have like pretty much like a different channel that they get put into, and then once they actually claim these collectibles and they have them and they've gone through that process, which by then they would have answered a lot of questions that they would probably ask in general, then they get access to the general chat. So it's like you almost have to go through, get one of these packs, invite someone, or at least claim your own pack, and then you're able to speak with the pride.
Yeah.
Definitely.
But there was definitely like a major increase in activity in our Discord during that period, which is great to see.
Yeah. Absolutely. Okay. Do we have a strategy to have an official presence in NFT events across all the globe? So we're speaking with, like some of the brands that we're looking at partnerships with, and like the events that they're hosting, and like they're pretty open about hosting them virtually. I mean, the reality is like we're based in Sydney, like the founding, like we're based in Sydney, Australia. We have not been able to leave. So like the reality is like we can't attend these events. Like it's not up to us. Like if we could, believe me, we would be there right now. If we were able to get to NFT NYC or Miami, like we would be there. We've had to like say no to some of these potential or like upcoming partners, and which is not fun, right? But it is what it is. Like we can't get there. So sad, so bad. But that looks like it's going to be changing later this month, and as soon as it does, we'll start attending more of those events, and we can have a proper presence there.
Please, yes. Woozy. I mean, trust me, we'd love to go. We'd love to go. I feel like I've been in this room for quite a while now, so yeah, it'd be nice to eventually travel.
Yeah. And once we have this merch out there, like I definitely like, we are thinking about how can we get community members to go if we can't go as well. Like we're having a particularly interesting chat right now with one of our, I shouldn't say partners, but like potential partners, and how we can do this if it's virtually or not. But yeah, like we're having those discussions. Okay, IDs and feedback. Dapper Dinos have released a brilliant update. I haven't had a look into Dapper Dinos, so I can't really answer that. When Coinbase? Can you comment on the progress of the website rebrand update? Yep. It's going quite well. Diego, who designed all of our other dApps as well, so collectibles, the Bungalow dApp, which I think have had really good feedback on the style and the UX and all that. We just finished wireframing the website now, so it's into design. The idea is we're going to do it in stages. So main thing is we just need to update that homepage, which is off-brand right now, and then we can start to build out other features like the gallery and whatnot.
There's a question from Greg. Can you give any color on any partnerships, collabs with brands currently?
Um,
It's a bit difficult due to specific reasons. Like we can say that we are in talks with people, but we just, we're very limited to how much information we can actually give out. But know that we are, we are speaking to people to have that confidence.
and some of them should be pretty obvious. I mean, Aaron, I think, has been pretty vocal as well, which has been great. Like, thank you to everyone who's been putting us in touch with some of these brands. I think I saw some off-color like comments about us reaching out for connections. Like, I think that's just in reality. That's how like business works. Like, we need to get connections. If the community has connections to some of these bigger brands, through like first networks or second networks, whatever it might be, like, great. Like, let's get in touch. Like, it's going to benefit them. It's going to benefit us. There's nothing wrong in that at all. So thank you to everyone who's like put us in touch with these brands and projects. All right. Any future plans for bungalows? Yes. Yeah, like we do, like with the metaverse, and like there's some interesting conversations about like how we integrate them into what we're building out. We were exploring the possibility of um, taking the bungalow DApp one step further. And like I'm happy to share this idea, but I don't want anyone to get the wrong idea, like wrong picture that we're actually implementing this. But what we could look at doing is with the bungalow DApp, we could make it so if you add your NFTs to your bungalow, it's not just an image editor, but that link that you created that we said we could use in future utility, there is a way for us to actually update those images live and put them into OpenSea. So, for example, if you add, your Lazy Lion or a CryptoPunk or whatever it might be into your bungalow, and you record that to the blockchain using our bungalow DApp, that image will then update live on OpenSea, and people can view that and say, oh, like this is a bungalow with, these images, and I could buy them. So curious to get feedback on that. Like I said, that's not something that we've it's a thought.
Also, some other ideas that we have for bungalows is that, within the metaverse, we're going to have, a whole bunch of bungalows, and they're going to have specific frames in them. So we're looking at doing like sort of activities or giveaways where people can actually win and have their specific line represented in one of the bungalows in the metaverse, and that will stay there as a representation of their lion. So just ideas like that as well.
Tokenomics. Yeah, it's not that we're like totally opposed to a token. I think we've answered this before as well. So like most would know how we feel. It's just it's got to have utility, real utility. And I don't think it's impossible for us to get there. I think we will get there, but just it's not there right now.
I think with the token, if there's some way that we can implement a lot of utility within the metaverse that makes sense, that's the only way that I can see it, potentially becoming. But even then, there'd have to be a really good use case for it.
Yeah. MKP. What do we want to take here? I think one thing is we're going to host more regular spaces and also some events that we sort of had to turn down, not because we didn't want to do these events, like speaking at some of these events, but just because of time, really, and resources. But we are, like myself personally, like as well, like putting a bit more of my time so we can attend those kind of events right now virtually, and hopefully we've got one that we can share sooner rather than later. And we're just trying to figure out like how can we get Lazy Lion holders to be able to attend that as well. preferably at without having to pay the full thing. So just in talks with them right now. Hopefully that's one we can share sooner rather than later. But I think that'll go a long way in terms of getting the brand out there and also educating.
There was a bit of discussion around doing Discord stages versus Twitter Spaces. We're definitely going to find a balance on that for sure. We feel like Twitter Spaces is a great way to get to make some noise. So we're going to definitely balance that out as well.
Yeah. Jigs, can you provide official clarity confirmation around rewards and provides risk? So just to be clear on this again, this is one that we've definitely answered before, but happy to answer it again to those who are probably, might be new. Like there is, like we've done the proper legal work on this. Like we've engaged like a proper legal firm, one of the best in Oz. They reviewed it officially, came back, right? And like the determination was like, no, like it doesn't provide that kind of risk. So it is fine. If it did, and there was a serious risk, then we would be transparent about that, and we would look at doing something else. But that's not the case. It's a rewards program, and we haven't had that kind of feedback as well from marketplaces. I don't think a lot of the Lions who participate in Lazy Votes voted for the analytics page on the website realized they would be moved off Discord. So the analytics page, like the partner that we're working on with that has had to push that back for good reasons. But we're hoping that comes out, within the month. So we'll see how that goes, and if it's still like to see the Discord channel that we used to have, then we can look at the options there.
Just reading through the questions.
Yeah, same here.
Like some answered. That's the.
What about you, Aaron? Any questions?
No, I mean I'm just scrolling through the chat as this is going on. Yeah.
I've got a question for you while we're looking for it for others in the community. How's the leg?
It's good. Yeah, I mean I I didn't actually have that much like peel. It was my first tattoo, so I mean I've heard that you can like it peels a bunch and stuff, and I didn't have any of those issues. So yeah, worked out pretty well. Looks pretty nice still.
It's definitely one of the cleaner designs I've seen in the tattoos. The best. Anyone who's seen Aaron as well, it would be funny if you could imagine him like being hurt with the tattoo. I mean that because the guy's buff as hell. When docs, which ties into that, like community members, like there are community members who have already like seen us, like we've been doxed. Like we said in the past, like part of it's just security. Like there's a lot of assets and with the team, and obviously if we dox ourselves, like if there's that security risk, it's just not been necessary yet. There's nothing that we have totally against that either. But
hey Ash, so
yeah,
Mags here is asking about the potential of doing some sort of battle or some sort of just to basically like bring utility to the traits individually. So whether that's like benefits for specific traits over another, or potentially like something in the metaverse where different traits battle each other, or even something inside of Discord where we can have some kind of like you know, Santa Hat versus Lazy Hat competitions or something.
Traits are an interesting
Hmm.
topic. They've been there for quite a while. They do take up, to be fair, they do take up a lot of space in the Discord as well. And I know it can be intimidating for some people when they first join our Discord. But I know for the regulars, they still do like these trait channels. Could look at doing something like that. You know, I like this idea of sort of battling off. We're just hoping that, you know, if one trait wins, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't make it seem like that trait is better than the other. Trying to avoid anything like that, but I guess we could, yeah, you could think of some ideas. It'd be cool to have something in the metaverse around that, though. They could battle off or something. But yeah, interesting idea. Friendly, of course.
Yeah.
Hmm. Evil eyes would dominate. Yeah, that's probably win every battle.
Is it possible for the community wallet to be earning yield? Pumping your bags, hey nine. Is it possible for the community wallet to be earning yield on the unused balance? It's something that we could look at, but I think like the more important question is, you know, what are we using those funds towards? And I think it'll be really clear as we're like in the process right now of mapping like 22 as well, what we can use that for, and if it makes sense to, you know, like have it staking so we can get some yield, then we can look at doing that. Seems like blue chip NFTs are becoming an in versus out group thing. Cool Cats, Bored Apes, Doodles, among others, stick together, invited, partnering better with DX. How do we get into that networking? It's better to be connected with these people. Feel like we're on the outside right now. Yeah. I think like we're obviously seeing a lot of collabs with like guys like Bored Apes, right? Which is like awesome for I think the whole space, because to me it says, and like even the discussions that we're having, right, like brands are taking this very seriously. Like they're not just the metaverse, but they're taking NFTs seriously. um, and I think that says a lot. um, I don't think we're on the outside, but I can see how they might feel like that, because obviously like just putting myself in the shoes of the community, and like we can't discuss like the collabs and stuff, so I can see like it's like, oh, like no one's wanting to talk to us. That's not the case. Like we're having conversations. But I do get what you mean, like with, especially with, you know, like with Adidas and some of those other collabs that we're seeing. But again, I think it's a really positive thing for the space. Will you docs? I think it's a major roadblock. I disagree with that. I think there are a lot of other projects as well that have shown that it's not a super important thing. And it's not a roadblock with our partners either, because really, even when we have or haven't shown our faces, like it doesn't make a difference.
And a lot of people that you mentioned previously that people have also seen us as well, like, you know, so it's not like yeah, trying to hide or something.
Yeah. I mean, Nine's a really good looking dude, so maybe if you show your face a bit, you
I don't know about that one.
get some more.
That one.
Can we get DJC some mod help? Seems like him and Aaron are the only one are in the Discord a lot.
This one was interesting. I don't know how to, yeah, take this one on completely. You can go first, Ash, if you want.
Yeah, like I think, like I'll start by saying like the mods, I think like are doing like a great job. I think it's really tough. I think it's really tough. Like you do get like there are a ton of trolls that come in, um, you know, whether it's the right click savers or whatever, and um, it can get pretty tough. And even, sometimes sadly, like lazy lion holders and, cubs, bungle owners, like sometimes, people push limits, people get upset for whatever reason. And, you got to manage all that. And at the same time, it's like a fun space. So it's like, it's pretty tough, I think. I think the mods are doing a really good job. But like I think we've brought on, what is it now, like 5?
Yeah, I'd definitely like to credit some of the other
Yeah.
moderators that are currently doing some tech support stuff as well, like Watts. I believe Watts is pretty active in the general chat. I always see him in there. So he's in the lazy team. Obviously, he's not actual just a lazy mod, but he's he acts as a moderator and a full-time tech support. So I believe he definitely deserves some credit as well, along with Ned and El Comandante, who's new as well. So they definitely, I've definitely seen them be speaking in the in the general chat and helping out newcomers. So I definitely don't want to leave them out as well. But I understand that in terms of rating, I can understand that. Like, do you mean getting people onto Twitter, rating with the community and stuff like that? Really, is that more of the type of moderation you're looking for?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I definitely like.
Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'll definitely echo that as well. Like I think the team's been doing amazing, right? Like not just the mods, but like the new team members that we brought in as well. Like there's Watts and Chris on this right now as well. I think they've been amazing. I've seen them like every time I've been in the Discord. I've seen them post not just in our tickets and like
Yeah.
the feedback on our support system has been great, like from the community members and even just Cubs in general as well. Like I've gotten DMs about it, which I think says a lot. But I see them in like everyone's in the like general chat and Cabana Bar as well. So um, I don't think I agree with that from what I'm seeing, but
Mm.
yeah.
Yeah.
Any thoughts on a dedicated alpha channel? A lot of members want to discuss strategy in crypto and other NFTs. It tends to happen in floor talk, but I think there will be enough of a user base with proper moderation about financial advice. Okay, so the alpha channel. Why are we asking for the alpha channel? Like, just let's take a step back because I agree with you. But it's why the alpha channel specifically? Like, is that what we really want? Is it a channel, or do we really just want to be able to have a place where we can be on the latest trends in crypto and NFT? Is that more what it is? Adds utility? Yep. Okay. So I think like where my mind goes to personally with this is bounce around ideas. Yeah, like when we see Twitter Spaces held by like Ozark, Heaton, like a few others, and they're in the same kind of zone where it's almost like come describe your project, talk about it. I agree though they're fun things to listen into because there's always that element of curiosity, right? Like what are people working on? Like this space is evolving, like every day, every hour, like there might be something new that comes out. Just because of the fact that everything's open source and innovation can be so quick, right? So I agree. Like it's pretty fun. You can probably waste a lot of hours and get little to no sleep doing this kind of thing. I think we've seen other projects have alpha channels like Discord channels, and some projects have even just sold a Discord channel for a lot of ETH, and it is what it is. But I don't know if it should just be a channel. I agree. We should be doing something where we can collaborate on ideas. And I think that's where the idea of Lions Den has come into play, really. Like a place where we can allow people to come up, talk about their ideas. We can discuss them as a group. Like, like the vision for this would be like we have something very similar to like Shark Tank, where you know people are just applying nonstop. We had a ton of applications, by the way, for this Lions Den thing, because we get a ton of DMs about, hey, can we collab on this project? I've got this new thing, whatever it might be, and we're like, now it's just, hey, apply to the Lions Den, and you may be chosen for a particular week, and you can come, present or pitch your idea to Lazy Lions. And we'll have like a panel, and they'll be able to ask engaging questions, and we'll bring specialists in for the relevant shows. We can make it, a specific focus. And then at the end of it, we can all just talk about it as a group. And maybe we do have a specific channel where, our Discord can have conversations, and maybe it'll evolve into they can pitch us an offer like, hey, if you want to get this amount of tokens for this much or whatever it might be. And as a group, we can choose to jump in or maybe part of it or whatever, right? So, yeah, main thing is Fruit. I agree with you. I don't know if it should just be a channel. I think it could be something even more, and we'll see how Lions Den plays out. Okay, the problem is there are only really 1 to 2 mods that show up. Just seeing this now. Have 20 to 30 mods, at least 2 to 3. Most of us are, even though I'm heavily active, that could change. Again, I think we just answered this one as well. Like it's 5 moderators now, right? These are 5 moderators part of the lazy team. So Chris, Watts, got others as well. Staff members essentially.
I can see that there's a lot of feedback on DJC's comment though. So with having over 20 to 30 mods to rally the community 24/7. I'm just thinking about objectively how we'd go, like the difficulty to set that up 24/7. I know it sounds like an awesome idea, and obviously personally I'd love to have that, but having 30 people actively, on 24/7, just realistically looking at it,
yeah. I think we are taking this seriously. What's the problem with this? I'd love to learn a bit more. Maybe it's worth us having conversations separately. Like, do you feel like there's a lot of spam happening? Is it, what's the reason that you feel that more mods should be there?
Is it to rally the community? Because if that's the case, then that's the reason that I see it working for sure.
Yeah, I would, just based on the amount of numbers, like, is there an actual issue?
Okay. Evenly distributed labor.
More trolls? Okay.
Yeah.
If there are more trolls and like they're not being, dealt with like an appropriate amount of time, then
They just needs to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, I'll take the feedback. I appreciate it as well. Guess we can look into that further because there was a lot of reacts on the comments. So yeah, I'll definitely that back.
Yeah. Cool. Are you still doing Lion Den submissions? Yes. Yeah, we are. This is going to be a continuous thing. So feel free to apply, and if it's not this week, it'll be maybe potentially in the upcoming weeks. Cool. Okay, I think that's pretty much all the questions and the ideas and feedback. I may enter the Lions Den soon. Man, absolutely. The support system is dope. Yeah, I've had pretty good feedback on that. Dude, Ash and Nine like gifts. Absolutely, who doesn't? Do you have any gifts you'd like to share?
I think there's a lot of communication about the whole mod thing, but interesting. Good to know. Like, I appreciate you guys actually speaking up about that because it gives me something to take back. So that's cool.
We need more active mods. Let me rephrase it. That's fair enough. I mean, we're continuously like even
Yeah.
the team if like again, I think like mods have done an amazing job, but like we're continuously looking to make sure that it's active and refresh, and we've had to rearrange some mods and move around, and that's totally fine, right? It's just a part of a part of growing. So Lions Den equals shilling other projects. How does this add value to the LL? Sure, yeah. So like in the forms that we have, like one of those exact questions is asking them like, how does this add value to Lazy Lions? Because I agree, it's a good question, Michelle. And like there are some good answers to it, and some of them can be as simple as offers, like special offers to Lazy Lion holders, and others have some other clever little things that we can go through in the Lazy Lions Den and explore together. We'll see how it is. Like from some community members that we've spoken to, like it seems like it's just gonna be a fun event, right? Like just to listen in and see what people are working on in Web3, and see what their ideas are, and maybe that doesn't interest everybody. It's I point to um, Shark Tank, right? That's not for everyone, but if that's something you enjoy, then we'll see how this goes. I wasn't satisfied with the question. Again, so to have big events and for us not to be there and organize something like that, um, like what's the big purpose of that? Because having a big event, and I know you mentioned Bored Ape Scale, like while it's definitely cool, and like we do have like events in mind, like something like that is obviously not an easy thing to plan or do, and it's not a resource light activity as well. So it's like, what is the purpose of doing something like that, especially if we can't be there and conversate with the community, or it doesn't tie into an event, or we can't even be there to plan. To put in that kind of focus and then get someone on the events team to go and organize that without any of the team being there, I think has big question marks. Any thoughts of having something similar to Mutating Lions? When Time Machine. Did I miss it? But will we be investing with Community Wallet and Lions Den like Shark Tank? It's a potential. I think we'll start off by just seeing how it goes, just listening into ideas and discussing them amongst ourselves, and but let's see how it sort of transitions. Put together a US line ambassador. I think the special thing is here, right? Like, and this is what we sort of got to step back a little bit. We're all here building this project together. We're all ambassadors of the project. If you're there, I think like having merchandise is a simple way of expressing that, but like we're all representing the project. Just like how we're representing it on Twitter, if we wanted to go represent it in these events, sure. Having like a more formal presence there and hosting like an event, that's a different thing. As Sydney is opening up and we can actually get there and be at those events, we can look at focusing more and more on those.
I think there's a question about utility for mid-cap. Are you talking about in terms of future utility, or are you talking about utility now that we currently have mid-cap? We can bring up mid-cap if you want.
Yeah.
Let's bring him up in a second. Just gotta find him. I'm going to answer some questions while I just check for him. Mid-cap. You want to raise your hand? Oh, there you go. There we go. Done.
Hey there, guys.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, King. How's it going? Oop.
Hello?
Yeah, hey.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay, great. Yeah, so, I own 3 Lions. I absolutely love it, man. I'm shopping my 4th right now. Spend a lot of time on Twitter promoting everything. I'm also in a bunch of different, alpha groups outside of this. Llama's my main one, but I'm in a bunch of others. Llama's a holder still. But, dude, I really feel like the whole thing is moving, right? I love our project. I love our brand partnership, everything we're doing moving forward. But I feel like the ground is shifting below us. Everybody I know, my friends that are in the space that are not Lions, they're only looking at things with tokenomics, gaming, staking, some sort of tangible way that when you park your ETH in a project, that ETH is still working for you in some way. And my biggest concern, and I'm here, man, I'm not going anywhere. I love the Lions. My biggest concern, though, is I'm a little bit worried if we don't embrace this change, which I don't think is a fad. I'm a little bit worried we're going to be left behind as just a PFP project. And that is not FOMO. That is constructive criticism. I hope you guys take it that way. Let me know what you think. Thanks so much for pulling me up, guys.
No, you can stay up as well. I'm happy to have this. We can have this discussion because it's something that we've already answered before as well. No, I appreciate and I understand where you're coming from, right? Because you see these particularly, I'm sure you're probably referencing things like the Wolf game, for example, right? Is that something that you probably have in mind with the games? It's something that we've all seen, and these things obviously come up. It's what I refer to and we see this happen quite a bit. And I actually made a post about this on my Twitter saying, hey, let's be, because the reality is what you see on Twitter influences a lot of what you do, right? Which is why even with our project that's worked so well, all the rating and everything like that. And when you see certain influencers saying, hey, this is the hottest thing, this is how it's going to change the whole space, this is how everyone's going to move into. If you see enough of that and you see people jumping into it and the price going up, psychologically, I can see how that goes up. Well, we're missing out on that because Lazy Lions isn't doing that. And like I said, I actually made a post about this. I think it offended a couple people, and which, to be completely transparent with you guys, I couldn't give a shit less. It's more about just protecting the community and people from influencers who really just care about pumping their own bags. That's a little bit different with the games like Wolf Game. They're cool, don't get me wrong, they're pretty cool. I like how people are innovating like that. Staking, DeFi, this all goes back to that same space. My concern with this, right, and why I don't see it as being part of our vision, is it takes what we have here, which is a very fun thing, it's a very relaxed thing, it's a lazy thing, right? We still have a rewards program, there's utility there as well, but it turns it into a very serious mathematical, how can I squeeze out the most juice from this kind of thing. That's how I see it. It for me isn't the definition of fun. That's not the definition of fun. Trying to stake and maximize returns and all that. That's not that doesn't sound fun. That sounds very serious. And I get like some people see that as being utility, and that's a different mindset. And I think that's how um, people see it, because they see it as almost like investing, right? Like, I'm investing in this thing. I want to see a return. I need to see 5%, 10%, 50%, something, whatever the percent is. I need to see these percents, man. Otherwise, I'm going to give this up. I'm going to turn this project out. I'm just going to get whichever project gives me the highest return. Again, first thing is, I don't see that as being fun personally. Like, that's not the right route that we're going into. And secondly, I think we're like, that's not our like core competence anyways. Like, we're not going to go and design a system like that and try and compete with these other projects and just try and squeeze out the highest returns, right? Because the reality is, like, there are DeFi projects that are amazing at that and have amazing teams, and that's all they do and focus on. So if somebody wants utility, like, go and look at some of those DeFi projects. You probably don't even need to get into NFTs for that. But again, like, for those reasons, I just don't see it as being part of what we do. And my bet on this as well is, I don't think it's actually going to be the future of NFTs. Like, I know some people have some really strong views saying, hey, DeFi is going to merge and it's just going to be NFTs and DeFi, and all these NFT collections are just a way to get you, crazy big returns and like passive income and all that kind of stuff. I don't agree with that. But I do hear your feedback, and like, I appreciate that as well. But it's differing views. I do respect a lot of those projects that are innovating out there. Like I said, even Wolfgame, I think they're really cool. But
Hey, that's fantastic. That was the best answer I've heard. I feel really relaxed about it based on that. Thank you. But I just don't want to, and I'm not into the Wolfgame and all that either, actually. But I don't want to discredit the idea of when there's huge changes coming that we just, pull back to what we believe, I guess. However, I trust you guys. Thank you so much for pulling me up, and keep it rolling. Thanks, guys.
Cheers, gang.
Cheers.
I
Thanks, man.
agree. Like, we don't want to, like, if there is a next thing that's coming and like it makes sense, like, we'll go with that. Like, it's part of our purpose, right? Exploring Web3, exploring the metaverse, exploring the possibilities of those things, right? So we'll naturally keep moving onto things, but I think just looking at the DeFi side, I can't see that as being something that we move into. All disguised as utility, meanwhile, much more Ponzi. Yeah. Isn't there play to earn? Yes, but it's different to, I think, what a lot of other people are suggesting with staking, right? And DeFi, where it's just pure that, and there's no, there's no like middle ground, right? Like, there's nothing that these tokens or actually, like, there's no experience that they're attached to. Again, it's just like with some of these tokens out there. Like, yes, like, it's a token, like, just like how we're saying we're going to do I can see us doing a token in the future, right? I can see us doing a token, but there has to be utility, and it's not super clear, and that's part of the confusion about with this all as well, right? Like, some of these other projects are releasing tokens, but there's not actually any utility in there. I just feel like the Twitter rules, Angie's in the same. What else can we do besides that, which will broaden our presence? Like we said, I think that strategy needs to evolve, but it is still working quite well for us. We're having some interesting discussions with partners, particularly like, how can we use this activation energy towards a different thing? Whether it's like a video game or whatever it might be.
Can I say something there too, Ash? Like, this is something that, like, I don't know, it really gets at me a little bit, because it's like, I think that people keep overlooking the fact that you own the individual IP of every single lion that you have. And without using the Lazy Lion name, there's the possibilities are endless. So whether it be, whether you're creating your app that has your own Lazy Lion in it, or whether you're starting your own podcast, using your Lazy Lion, or whether you're there's just so many things that you as an individual can do that not only raises the awareness of your own individual IP, but then it creates your own brand just of you yourself. And then all of that's going to reflect kindly, if you do a good job, back onto the project as well. Because if someone's reading, if you're I don't know, like if you draw comic books and you put out a Lazy Lion comic book or something, it's things that I think, there's 4,800 individual owners here with 4,800, at least, 4,800 different people with different minds that can take advantage of their own personal IPs and just use, like what you said, the activation energy of not necessarily waiting for just waiting for something to be to happen or to be handed to you or something like that. It's just kind of take control, schedule your own meetups, like someone who has comic books, make comic books, someone who has, I think I saw someone making like coffee the other day, like Lazy Lion coffee, or not Lazy Lion coffee, but just, coffee with their, IP on it. To me, I just feel like the more people start to actually take control of stuff like that, it's more things that will go towards the whole guerrilla marketing side of what we do, rather than just posting on Twitter. Like posting on Twitter is like the bare minimum of what someone can do. And to me, it's like if you don't have, a lot of time or money, that's a good solution. But past that, if you do have time and you're sitting there and you're like kind of boiling over on the inside, like whatever creative thing that you have or can do, take advantage of it. Throw your line on it, and that you'll at least get our attention. And then in response, it'll raise the presence of the brand in general. It's just my thought process on that, but it's probably because it's something that I'm doing a lot of.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Like also, I mean, with that, like I think Rory was another lion. He made his lion into a character animator like I've been working on, and he's gonna start like doing like a YouTube show or like a podcast with his lion. It's just things like that. Like I went on Fiverr and I found someone to make like just like a silly game like with my face on it, and it's just like I think it was like $50. All those Instagram filters that we've been putting out. I found someone on Fiverr. It was like $200 to make an Instagram filter. It's like it's not a lot, but it's more than a Twitter roar, which is like the bare minimum. And if people just start coming up with like all of these different ideas and just kind of like pouncing on it themselves and not waiting for just waiting for Lazy Lions to put out official Lazy Lions Instagram filters. Just go make your own. Just Twitter Roars is the starting point of our guerrilla marketing campaign, and I encourage every single person in the community to come up with something that you do personally better than anyone else. Put your lion on it, and it'll raise the value of your lion and the overall brand in general.
Mm-hmm.
I believe there was a question from, let me bring it up. Ellie, grab that one. I think it was about charities and what we're planning on doing for that. The Right Click Give is an NFT charity that has projects like Cool Cats, Crypto Chicks, Be Friends, and a ton of other projects. What are our plans for charities and stuff like that? So with charities, we have had a couple of discussions with different charities, and we are in the talks. Obviously, nothing 100% confirmed yet, but yes, that is on our radar as well, Sally. So we are having those talks.
Mm-hmm. Cool. Probably give it another couple minutes. If there aren't any like last questions.
When merch? That's in the works. Never give up. I think we spoke about that a little bit earlier as well, but yeah, should be coming.
Ozark plans around incentivizing. We have rewards for that. That's what rewards is there for. If there are any other ideas on like how we can extend that, like open to listening. But I mean that is what we have rewards for, right? That's working quite well.
Cool. Field trip to Australia. Yeah, come down here. Yeah, that'd be nice.
Merch, literally wearing one of the shirts right now. So it's we're just checking some things off, and like hopefully we have some news on that soon. Like it's, I don't want to promise the exact dates in case things change a bit, and then it's disappointing.
Yeah.
The goal of LOL is to become the biggest NFT community. Why are we not creating other collections at lower price points to bring in more people? Cubs, mutants, antelopes. Antelopes, that's an interesting one. I think, I don't think that's the biggest problem. That's the biggest challenge that we're facing right now. Like, I mean, obviously everyone has challenges, but I don't think that's what's holding things back right now. I think it's just a matter of time. But when that becomes a problem, we can look at ways to change that. When antelopes. I think a lot of it has to do with NFT market in general. Only smaller gimmick projects are pumping right now. Yeah. How has the referral program been performing? Better than expected. Like I was saying, our visitors doubled the days around launch. Visitors is a member has actually clicked into the server, viewed at least the channel. So yeah, that doubled, which is wild. Yeah. And now we're seeing all-time highs with Lazy Lion holders. So we had to cut it off short, but this next version that we're we're building on, we should be able to leave it to just be on continuously. I'd be curious as well. I just want to ask everyone, like, what excites you most right now in NFTs, Web3, Metaverse? Like, what is the most exciting thing for you right now?
Coinbase.
Partnerships. Partnerships, yeah. Building a company with strangers, making friends, yeah. It's exciting. Partnerships, collabs, partnerships.
I think it's partnerships and collabs are the biggest. Yeah, which is
I agree.
can agree to as well.
Tokens, more partnerships, please. Yeah. I need my Nikes. Networking, partnerships, discounts. Okay. Win partnerships. In real life utility, none of this metaverse bullshit. Interesting. Fuck the metaverse and NFTs. I'll direct you to the blog where we literally have the purpose is to explore the metaverse and Web3. The three box that was mentioned with Community Wallet, would that connect to the one already purchased? See whatever makes most sense, because it really depends on what land is available as well and how we can work around that. 'Cause it just really depends on whoever's on what's on the market, or if we can make an offer and get someone to sell. So it's hard to say. It's hard to say, rather. If we announce a legit partnership by end of December, it will strengthen the community's brand loyalty to Lazy Lions. What would you consider like the top partnership right now?
Curious to hear that.
Curious, like who do you have in mind?
Oh
'Cause,
no.
like, we obviously know who we've been talking with, and I think like for members in the community, like it's pretty obvious who we're talking to right now. Like, some of them. Okay, Coinbase, Nike, Puma, Budweiser. Okay. Coinbase number one. Alcohol.
Coinbase, Nike, Puma.
Give it to me, baby. I don't know if that's a brand. Everyone is saying Nike, Disney. Realize some of these lines are bloody, smoking weed. Yo, wilding. Tui's. Strike early. I think only me and you and a couple others know who that is. Win Disney. Hard Rock Nick. 10,000 Lazy Nicks. Let me know if you guys are keen. We will push the button on that tonight. NRL sponsor. Baby Lions. Netflix. Nick Cage. Any Fortune 500 or sports organization. Okay. Okay. DraftKings. Big tobacco. Disney. Do people want more partnerships that bring eyeballs to us or utility for us? It's a good question. Because it feels like a lot of this is eyeballs.
Any partnership.
Anyone care about the art?
Hmm.
8K resolution lines or bust. Right after we came out with the high res ones. Can we partner with right click savers?
So, we've been doing some recon inside of this VR chat thing, and I think we will meet many right-click savers inside of VR chat. So there's always a potential there. I think the very first thing when we went inside, we heard someone say something about an NFT, and Nine was like, "Oh, have you guys heard about NFTs?" And they were like, "Fuck NFTs!" And
Yeah, I quickly ran away from that conversation. I didn't last very long. Yeah.
I don't know if anyone here has experienced VR chat before, like particularly with a headset. If anyone has, just say something in the chat. Like, um, it is pretty, like it is immersive.
Yeah, it's pretty full on.
Yeah.
Seeing the private island complete in that world, having a meeting there would be pretty sick.
Ozark, you're in there. Yeah, you are. You
Yeah.
really are. And like I feel like that's not getting enough attention. And like just from the screenshot that we saw from the team,
I think I have a little bit of a screenshot as well that I can share of just
should we share?
just the entrance.
All right,
It's
let's
pretty cool.
Good.
Do that.
sending it in the Cabana bar chat.
Yeah, I'll send it in the Cabana bar chat.
Okay. What was the rewards replacement? For we're working on a couple things, but I don't think we're going to be going down that route anymore. We were looking at, number one, how can we get lazy lines in the hands of everyone, like in the holders, like some kind of like souvenir thing, and we're also looking at like allowing us all to experience VR, and we're trying to get a bit funky with what we could actually send out to everyone. But I don't think we're going to be going down that route. Like the feedback that we had was, made it pretty clear that that's not something we should be looking at.
There it is. It'd be nice to hold one of these events in that world where we can all communicate with each other. It looks pretty.
Yeah. What VR headsets did you use? I used an Oculus. It's really immersive. Like you really feel like you're in there. We went into one of these test islands, and it was like, wow, like we could see the private island there. So like this is like these things right here, like us catching up, doing AMAs, preferably the Lions Den. Like we want to move these experiences. Like Discord is where it's at the moment for sure. It makes sense, but as we focus more and more on the metaverse, like let's move our conversations there. Whether that means we have to get 3D models or whatever we need to do for the community. Imagine a Lions Den like Survivor in the metaverse. Yeah, that could be really cool. Can we get a VR headset for Christmas? F in the chat. What? Arashi, yeah, we were very, very impressed when we spoke with With all of the community grand ideas as well. It's just those two, they aligned really well with what we're focusing on right now as well. So yeah, and some of the work, like they've done this, many times before with these type of concerts and stuff as well. So it's pretty exciting. It's pretty exciting. What would you like to see in the metaverse? Because we're getting questions about Sandbox as well, right? So maybe we'll move into that for I know we said we're gonna end this call, but I'm really curious about that. Like I mentioned, Sandbox is very limited. Like we believe in the mission, like in the vision of what they're trying to build. But like it's gonna take time, right? It's gonna be very limited on release, and we can see from the alpha as well. But what are some of the things that you would like to be able to do with each other, and the experiences you'd like to have on the private island?
Like this is a big one, right? Where games where you can wager against other lions, and like that's something that would bring people back. Those type of games, sort of like could be a combat thing. One line wins, they get token for this, etc. But those are
If you die in the private island, you die in real life. That's probably a bit too dark, eh? Or maybe not.
how you choose play games. Listen to music, gamble.
Kill other animals in the metaverse. Which animals?
This went quick, huh? What's going on?
Mini golf. I want to be able to kiss lionesses and hunt zebras. Okay. Chase our prey.
Golf.
Go to moon. When antelope hunting. Blue green wrecked.
Mystery games / Easter eggs. Yeah, they're always fun as well.
Can you talk about doing integration with more projects that aren't necessarily metaverse plays? We've spoken to community members who are working on some cool things that are in its early stages for sure, but they're building out some cool things that integrate Lazy Lions into that. And me personally, I'm happy to spend time with Lazy Lion holders who are building out these cool things. It was great the reaction that we got on LinkedIn, all the DMs and hey, I'm a Lazy Lion holder, I'm working on this. Could we have a chat? Absolutely. Let's happy to spend time with Lazy Lion holders and explore those kind of things. And we'll probably be announcing a few in the next coming weeks. Early stages, but I think it's pretty cool. And they're not necessarily metaverse plays, but they integrate other NFT projects. RuneScape collab. Ozark, I'm still waiting for you to introduce me to Modash and all the other guys. Okay.
Modash.
Cabana Bar at Bondi Beach.
No record.
I can introduce you to Zazima. No, you can't. No one can.
Ash is Zazima. That's the issue.
Exactly. Can Lazy Lions branch out an NFT into another environment like Solana? Solana. That's related back to the original Lion holders. I think those things, we're obviously open to exploring that because that's part of what we're doing here, right? That's our purpose, to explore Web3, explore NFTs, and just what it has to offer. But that's definitely not on the plans right now. Branching out to or bridging out to other other blockchains. Obviously, we've got Polygon that we've got the collectibles app working on right now. It's we've obviously explored that, but that's still related to Ethereum. Have you guys looked at Decentraland yet? Yes. And the conclusion was there are other metaverses that we should be focusing on. Just the potential and especially when compared to some of the other ones, the more prominent ones, it didn't really click. Can devs do something? Use the community wallet to buy an ape and eat it.
Mm.
Nice one to go. Can we buy Puerto Rico? Thinking about it. Yes. We should hold the Lions Festival, right? Okay. I mean, Greg, like we have, because we've been using those lines for rewards. And I know like what we have, like depending on how we flesh out like the 2022 plan as well. And you know, if we think we're gonna need more lines for giveaways and things like that, I think like the reality is, and like nothing against this, like this is how we set it out at the beginning. It's different to some other projects, but we didn't reserve as many lions as some of these other projects do. Like for the community wallet or for the devs ourselves, like we didn't reserve that many, right? Especially when you compare it to some of these other projects and how much they've reserved, which maybe it shot us a bit in the foot as well, because for partnerships they would be really useful. Um, like we said, like we haven't given away lines post launch to influencers. That just hasn't been part of our thing. Um, uh, but with proper partnerships, well, actually, besides we gifted one to Wendy back on like the first couple days, and that didn't. That was we all realized that let's not do that again. But besides that, like it would be good like lines, or at least having other like brands that we're speaking to right now, because like that's a question that comes up that they're interested in, which is really positive. Like how can we create alignment of incentives, right? And like the natural thing is the NFTs themselves, right? Because if they do well, the NFTs go up. It's happy days for everyone. So it would have been cool if we had more lines. But it's a question of, do we even want to be giving out lines to brands anyways? They can just buy them or work that as part of the deal. But anyways, long ramble. All in all, like we may get some more lines using the community wallet, depending on how the planning goes.
I think that's a big thing, right? With influencers and us not, giving lines away to that. I think with partnerships, if certain partnerships make sense, I think that's something that we can look at doing. Obviously for the right partnership, of course.
Coin market cap? Oh, don't remember mentioning that. Custom ones with one of ones for partnerships. I think we'd steer away from that.
Oh, listing? I believe we're on CMC anyway. CoinMarketCap already, so we are listed. You can go look at under the NFT section. CoinMarketCap.
MGM. Tomorrow we raid gadgets. What are some of the things you enjoy about those spaces that are like, hey, show me your NFT project, or come pitch your project. What are some of the things that you enjoy about those, and maybe some of the things that you don't enjoy about them? I don't enjoy them at all. Okay. People pumping their own bags. Cool. Okay. Cool. And if you're part of these alpha channels that other projects have, what about with those? Like, what are some of the things that you enjoy or maybe don't enjoy? Like, what is it about the alpha channels? Have they given good tips that you've actually gone and put money in and come out with more, or? More so just to learn, not get shilled? Yeah. Yeah, it's pretty painful having to listen into someone try and pitch their project and oversell. We've all been part of that. You know, on a few of those calls, actually.
Curious to hear the feedback after the initial lines, then what people think about that.
Long-term vision for Lions, then Shark Tank, but for Web3 and in the metaverse.
Hmm.
Whitelist in good projects. How does everybody feel about whitelist in general? Like, what are some of the rewards that you would like to see? Let's say we're in the Lions Den, somebody pitches a project. Overall the community is really keen on that. How would you like to be rewarded with that? Like, would you want, special discounts into minting, like a whitelist where you can mint at a lower price? Would you want us to use the community wallet to, get some of the tokens and put them in? Would you want free tokens that they then donate to the community in return for us tweeting out? Because like the reality is, like, anyone who understands the value that we have, like a tweet out about a project is worth a lot. I mean, we get some stupid, like insane offers and DMs about, hey, can you post this? I'll give you, my grandma and my unborn child, pretty much. We'll take it. Yeah. Our whitelist is becoming sad for projects. Yeah. When grandma lie, because I've got a few ideas, and I think we just need to see how it plays out. But what's something that would like give you that same kind of excitement that that we all get when we're watching Shark Tank, and they finally get that deal across the line? Like, would it be same thing with us? Like, they get the yes from us, and we give them a retweet, or we post about them in the weekly update, exposure. I'm just curious, like, what would we as a community, what do we want from them? Because they've like thrown out some cool ideas, like I mentioned, some discounts, some other funky things to their services. Because they're not all projects. Some of them like are, you know, um, like SaaS that have NFT collections attached to them. Some of them are just SaaS, and they want exposure. We vote on what we give. Okay. if we aren't doing anything DeFi, it would be a cool way to get exposure to those type of projects. Yeah, agreed. We need a newsletter. Yeah. Might be something else, worth putting resources into and getting someone who can do that. Particularly if Lions Den starts to blow out the way we think it does, or it can. Any new lazy votes coming soon? I would expect that we would have one in early Jan. Sort of kick off the new year. If we do a Lions Den, fund other projects, we should build a way for it to tie back to rewards. Yeah, that could be pretty cool. That could be pretty cool.
How many people would reach at the first Lions Den? So it'll be 2. If we run short, then maximum 3.
Yeah. Maybe if they've got, a 10,000 series, they jump into the Lions Den and we rip them apart and, take 10% of their tokens and sell out 5% as soon as they sell and then put them into rewards. I kid, but not really. Okay.
Can we do that?
You don't enter the Lions Den and not expect something like that, right?
We should do a Discord
Don't
stage.
tweet about new projects. Yeah, and that's the same hesitance that we've had, right? Which is why we've had to turn down a ton of these. Like, I kid about the grandma thing, obviously, but like there have been like some silly offers in terms of how much ETH they would give, which is understandable, right? Because obviously, like the brand has a lot of power with it, and if we're tweeting it out about some other collection, like it's obviously going to have an effect on that. Which is why we've stayed away from it, mainly because even though they might be good projects, we don't want to be vetting them, and then lazy lion holders as well are buying these projects that turn out to be, duds or rugs or whatever they might be. Like that's not something we want. But if we have this kind of platform with Lions Den where we can all explore it together, and then we make that choice together, then it sort of removes that risk. We've all got a chance to explore it. There's 4,500, 5,000 opinions, or if we open it up to everyone, tens of thousands more.
Whether it's Coinbase or brand partnership, how long until that big announcement? So I think we mentioned previously that we don't want to give it a specific date in case if we do, and if it doesn't go through, then we have to push it back and then just, leads to disappointment. But we can say that we are actively, talking to these people. I think a lot of people, are speaking about it in the community as well.
Yeah.
But we can't really obviously say too much.
We should do a Discord stage debate before votes. Yeah, that could be a really cool idea. Like right after the Lions Den ends, or maybe it's a separate day, get together, just have like a live discussion, do a vote. Maybe that's what it becomes. Or maybe we have that the debate discussion in chat together, like while the pitch is happening. So it's like Shark Tank but live, and then we all like live vote. And you can see it going up and down, and they're on edge, just waiting to see if they're going to get it or not. Cool. Lions Den will only be available to Lion holders, right? That's the requirement we set, but I think we might open it up at the beginning. We've had a ton of requests come in from Lion holders, but like we're not totally against it because like let's open it up, I think, and then maybe we can move into, hey, like you have to have like a bungalow at least to enter, and then like that way it's like we're not asking to make a huge investment, and then we can go into just you have to hold a lazy lion, but first like let's build up that value, test it out. What needs to happen before you can be more active in Discord and Twitter Spaces regularly? think we need to be participating in events more. I think that's something that we haven't focused on because like we can't physically go to events, but like I've put a lot of my time into that now. Like speaking with other brands, talking about how we can do these kind of events as well. So I think it'll just happen. Like we've put a focus on that now. Did they answer if they will ever dox? So we've already doxed with like certain community members and like brands that we're speaking to. Just like any concerns with this, like if you feel like it's holding back brands, like it absolutely isn't. Um, like they're totally cool with it. It's funny, like I was speaking to like $1 billion um, company and like, we're putting on video and they're like, oh, you're putting on video? Like it doesn't even matter. Like who cares? Yeah, it is what it is. Maybe didn't like the look of my face. Do you have a realistic conception of how difficult this would be? Any plans? Is public doxing required for Coinbase? No. No, yeah, no. Sorry, no, it's not. Public doxing, no. I don't believe so. I probably should have said. Anyways, I think we've got to jump off now. If there's any last question. Any plans or ideas embracing Coinbase and Twitter's profile photo verification? I would just leave with this one thought, right? Like, yes, Twitter and stuff are now working on that, or at least that's what it looks like. Like, that's something we had in mind before the project even, went on sale, right? Like rewards. Like we were thinking about verifying Twitter profile photos a long time ago. So, like, we'll see how it plays out. But it's something we're already doing. Kings, Queens, thank you so much for jumping on. Appreciate all the questions. I guess we've got some serious thinking to do about the antelopes, baby antelopes. I think it was baby antelopes, right? Or mutant baby antelopes on Disney.
That's funny.
Mutant antelope babies. That one sounds a bit better. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for coming together today, and appreciate all the questions as well. Very insightful for us, as always.